Hi, welcome back. How was your day yesterday? Did you find yourself being a lot more aware? I hope so. Today I want to look at the habit of resistance, which you may have noticed quite a bit yesterday. Essentially, resistance is a movement that makes our lives hell. It's our fight and our struggle, which comes in a number of ways. Sometimes it's avoidance or run away or distract. Sometimes it's a full-on fight. Sometimes it's just this foggy, exhaustive place where we just kind of check out. All of those are movements of resistance. Now, what I have learned is that resistance comes from your primal survival system. This is what I call it. It's a movement in your whole system that is built to protect. Now, it's not actually keeping you safe or protecting you, but it is some really old programming back from the caveman days. And it's a basic programming that looks around at everything and makes two assumptions. One, that you are separate from everything else here. And two, everything else here is a potential threat. And this movement has a vigilance and a tracking, and it's going on in your system all the time. And that is what makes our lives very difficult. It's an incredibly entrancing movement, especially when we are unaware of it and subconsciously agreeing that we need this movement in order to be safe. Now, here's something else I know. If it was just up to your primal survival to keep you safe, you would not be very safe. There is something much more important working for you and for your safety. I would call that the source, your being. That which is looking out of your eyes right now and listening to my words right now is not your primal survival movement. That is your essence and that is your being. It's deeply connected to the source of everything. And it is an incredibly safe kind of movement. Some people might call it an intuition. It's a lot more than that, and sometimes intuition can be a little bit mistaken. But essentially, you have a very large survival system taking care of you. And the primal survival is not necessarily in charge. So sure, if somebody came at you with a knife right now, your primal survival would be the thing that would make you jump. If you were just relying on that, you'd jump out of the way, but possibly into some more danger behind you. Now, you have this bigger movement, and the real survival instinct that's taking care of you altogether is the thing that had you avoiding walking down that alley in the night anyway. It was either an intuition or a feeling that you didn't want to be there, or it was just simply something else was a lot more interesting and a lot more captivating. And if you look through your life, you're going to see this again and again and again and again, all over the place. Nevertheless, you have a body, and that primal survival isn't going anywhere. We just want to be aware of the movements, because if we don't know what it is, subconsciously it is making all of our days a hellacious experience. Even if you experience a lot of happiness or a lot of joy, after today, I'm hoping you're going to start to notice how much this resistance pattern moves. So today, this is what we're going to do. We're going to focus primarily on that movement. So we're going to do the same thing that we did yesterday, but just building upon it. So we're going to take our awareness, which is very effortless and very easy. We're going to direct it into the body, and watching all of these feelings and sensations arising inside of us, but we're going to particularly notice the resistance. And that is the movement that either feels foggy distraction, or it makes you highly irritated and not at all focused. It makes you distract. It makes you avoid or run away from. And another thing you can always tell that it's a signature of resistance, very similar to the mind, is it has effort. You feel this effort engagement instead of this effortless contentment. Now, these are movements naturally arising inside of you. And sometimes you can think that you have a type of control. And the only reason there's effort is because you're doing something. And if you relax, there would be no effort. I don't want you to track like that. I want you to unengage from the mind, from the control, from the story that you're driving the whole thing. And I want you to just simply use your awareness and watch all the habits and the movements arising in the day, paying specific attention to these little distraction, avoidance, runaway, or fight movements. And again, we don't have to be afraid of them. We don't indulge them by being aware of them. And in fact, by being aware of them, just like being aware of the wall in front of you, doesn't mean you are it. You are aware. And what I'm going to invite you to notice is that these are movements coming from your entire system. It's not a mental habit that's going on. It's an entire body system, a system of constantly resisting because there's a perceived threat, which would be pretty much everything from the point of view of survival. The thing to be aware of when this is happening is the way your system is wired for resistance. Some of you are going to have really chronic and habitual patterns. And I want you to notice this. Again, when we're walking a road towards freeing our mind, liberation has a lot to do with having more space than these chronic and habitual patterns. So let's just try it today. Just see what happens. Make it an intention today to notice your habitual patterns of resistance and wanting to watch the way the system is responding all the time with this resistance. Because you're going to notice that it makes life really difficult, especially if we aren't aware of it and we're fully believing it. So just give it a try. Again, if you can take 2 15-minute periods today, fine, to just be aware of what's arising inside of you, particularly if you're feeling some level of resistance. Another way you could do it today is just throughout the whole day, be aware of what's going on. And if you feel or sense there might be some kind of a struggle or some kind of an effort or a fight going on, stop. And just for 2 minutes, just pull over the car or step outside the office or move into a restroom or just take a moment where you are to be aware, just like you're aware of the wall, to just be aware, almost like listening to the way it's moving for you. So just give it a try, see what happens. Over the next 12 hours, you might start to discover some really interesting things. And I'll meet you back here tomorrow.